Before we get to my interview with the author Jack Cashel in a wee moment, it's first time for our weekly Future Shock 2.0 with Ira Wolfe on the future of work and labour force trends. Ira Wolfe, do you need to go to college in America to get ahead and get a career? And more globally, what's the picture?
That is, I guess, maybe the billion-dollar question, the trillion-dollar question about do you need a college degree? Obviously, colleges and the traditional paths have said, yes, you need that. A lot of companies have said, yes, you need a college degree. But in truth, the only organizations, the only jobs that require a traditional 4-year degree, which is now it sometimes takes 6 and 10 years to get that traditional 4-year degree, are professions that require licensure, like such as in health. I mean, I came from this world. So I want my doctor, my dentist, I want an engineer, I want my accountant to have some formal training. I want them to be licensed and certified and have that experience. But the hot jobs, the in-demand jobs, and we've talked about this before, the in-demand jobs, many of those do not require the traditional 4-year degree. In fact, many of those, and there's a rebirth in this, is apprenticeships that going into the high school, almost going back to the old VOTech, but in the past, VOTech was just for the trades. Now they're talking about VOTech being available for healthcare. How do you get people into healthcare? How do you get them to be nursing? How do you get them into the labs and growing from there? And then from the lab or from a CNA, they become an RN, or from an RN, they become a physician. From a dental assistant, they become a dental hygienist. From an aide, they become a PA, a physician assistant or a nurse practitioner. So they're moving up the ladder. And rather than having a traditional graduate from high school to go to 4-year college, 4-year professional school, and then go into the field. Now it may be a 10 or a 12 or even a 15-year journey, but people are going along the way and not coming out with an enormous amount of debt, but working for organizations that nurture that. But we talk about other jobs. I mean, the trades. There are certain jobs that are just not at high risk. There was a recent conference board study that came out, and they identified the risk of shortages and the trades and production jobs, many manufacturing jobs, technology jobs, healthcare jobs. They were all right at the top of that list. But it wasn't just why they had the shortages, but it was the difficulty in training those people or just the shortage of people. So, for instance, we've had a shortage of male workers. It's dropped significantly. And most significantly, it's dropped in the 16 to 34-year-old,
wow,
which would be the prime age. So look at traditional construction jobs, which was primarily a male-dominated workforce. And the most significant shortage is in their supply chain of males. Now, again, many women are entering this construction trades, but it's still not the traditional scope we get, but they don't require beyond I would say you need beyond a secondary degree, some type of training. It could be in a VOTech, it could be in a career and technical school, it could be in a community college. Community colleges, I think, are going to boom. But many organizations are now they're saying they're lowering the requirement for experience and education to get the job. That doesn't mean they're lowering the bar. They're just coming back to what I've called for years credential creep. Oh, there's a lot of people that have a 2-year degree. We're going to have that minimum. Oh, there's a lot. We have our abundance of talent that has a 4-year degree. So it made us easy to qualify or disqualify people just because they didn't have a degree or they had 2 or 3 years experience or 5 years experience. Now that's gone. So companies now are starting to look at potential. They're looking at people that have the right attitude, the right ethic, the right fit, and they're starting to upskill and reskill, people in that realm. So ultimately, this is all a threat to traditional 4-year colleges, but there is still going to be a need, a higher need, because we have more skills, more difficult skills, a higher need for post-high school education. But is it going to be the traditional bachelor's degree that we've known and loved for the last 40 years? Absolutely not.
Thank you, Ira Wolfe. Ira is a workforce trends expert and public speaker, and you can hear him on his own podcast, Geeks, Geezers and Googleization. It's really interesting stuff. And if you want another great podcast, listen to Odeon Capital Conversations with Dick Bovey and Matt Van Alstyne of Odeon Capital Group, along with yours truly. Odeon Capital Conversations is a top-rated Apple podcast in North America and in Europe. On the latest episode, you can learn more about why banks in America are investing heavily in advanced technology and why the country is losing over 50 banks each quarter because of all the intense competition and pressures. It's called Odeon Capital Conversations. I'm your host, John Aidan Byrne.